You're listening to the Icandemy Podcast, the podcast for people who can but don't know how. This is where you get actionable steps to turn vague dreams into blissful realities. And I'm your host, Omoshola Victoria Wolabi. So let's get started. Do you ever think to yourself, I want to be able to impact lives, leave an imprint in this world, but you feel isolated, stuck, unclear on how to show up or get started? If you've answered yes to this question, I want to extend a very special invitation to you to join us on our upcoming workshop, the Courageous Confidence Workshop. This workshop is live, where we get to work together on that call so that you can crack the confidence code, awaken your inner giant, show up authentically, and attract your tribe. Head on over to offers.icandemy.org/courageous. Again, it's offers.icandemy.org/courageous. You'll find the links in the show notes below. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Icandemy Podcast. And on today's episode, I'm going to be talking to a very special guest who, at first, when I read about him, I was wondering, what could we possibly have in common? And then the more I dug in for that, the more excited I got, because I realized he's passionate about something that I am also passionate about, that I struggled with for a very long time. And on the surface, when I looked at him, I was like, this man is so successful. He's accomplished. How did he get that far if he also struggled with the same thing? So I kept digging. And the more I kept digging, the clearer it became that boldness is something that the most unlikely would struggle with, especially when you see somebody who is so accomplished. You would never believe that they struggled with something like this in their life. And I'm super excited to be welcoming Fred Joyal to the podcast. He's the author, he's a prominent speaker, an author that focuses on remarkable customer service. Fred is recently retired, and he was the co-founder of Future Dontics, which is the parent company for the number 1-800 dentist, and over a 30-year period generated $1 billion in revenue. How could this man struggle with becoming bold? That is what I get to talk to him about today. And here he is. Welcome to the show, Fred.
Thank you, Victoria. I'm excited to talk to you and your audience.
Awesome. Fantastic. We are excited to talk to you too. I do have a lot of questions for you. But the name of the show is the Icandemy Podcast. So in true fashion, in honor to that name, what can you do?
I can teach somebody how to build their confidence and boldness to remarkable levels in a very short time. No matter where they are, no matter how shy or underconfident they are, or hesitant or insecure, I can jump them up a significant level in a short time and begin a process where they can do that and expand on their boldness and confidence for the rest of their life.
Why boldness, though? You have a very accomplished profile. You've done businesses. You're a marketer. Why boldness? Why are you so passionate about people becoming bold?
Because I struggled with it a lot as a youth. I was a very shy young person, very underconfident, very insecure. I missed all sorts of opportunities with friends, with women, with opportunities for fun and adventure and jobs. And it made me frustrated, and it made me angry that I was like that, but I couldn't figure out how to change it. And I would see bold people and I would think, are they born this way? Why are they like this? Why don't they experience rejection like I do? Why are they not afraid of in all of these situations? They just bounce right in. And so I started emulating them, and I just started realizing I had to be uncomfortable and live with it until I got comfortable and just got better and at social situations, at taking risks. And it created this positive feedback loop, because the more bold I was, the more good things started happening. And I eventually reached a point where I've done stand-up comedy and improv comedy. and I can walk on a stage with 5,000 people and do a 2-hour presentation and relaxed and energized and not panicked and not, tongue tied or anything. And I've had great fun all around the world, met really amazing people. I can walk up to anybody and have a conversation. Doesn't matter how famous or successful they are. I can have a regular conversation with them just by skills that I've developed, and because I'm bold enough to walk over and talk to them. I wish other people knew this, because I see other people that are like me, I used to be, and I say, you don't have to be like this. You can do something about this.
You gave a very fascinating example that will stick in my mind forever. Two, actually. You said if you were presenting on stage and your fly was down, and somebody walked up to you and said, oh, Fred, for the last 2 hours you've been talking, your fly has been down. For me, that would be the most embarrassing thing ever. But you said you'd just be like, okay, I just wanted to see if they were paying attention. And I was like, that's interesting. The other one you said was, imagine you were at a dinner and you were having dinner and you kind of, spilled on your shirt. It would quickly be, this is why my dry cleaner loves me. And I'm like, how come I never thought of that? I would be so embarrassed. I'll almost leave the event altogether. Do you want to share more about how you got to that point and how you came up with those quick one-liners for you to get yourself out of an embarrassing situation?
Well, when you realize that being embarrassed is a choice, it always comes down to having a certain insight about things, is that if you roll with stuff, people don't care. They actually admire that you rolled with it. If I spilled wine on myself and just said, this is why my dry cleaner loves me, they would all relax and go, he's okay with that. I would not be okay with that, but somehow he is. And they kind of admire you for it. And you realize I didn't have to choose to be embarrassed. I could choose something else. I could laugh along with them. If I had my fly was down on stage, I could say, my mom has been trying to get me to do this right my whole life. And I still forget. And they would just laugh, and I would turn around and zip up my fly. And I mean, you could almost do that deliberately just so people would go, he's got his fly down. Why does I can't listen to him until he fixes it. And, 5 minutes into the presentation, you could fix it. You could actually have done it deliberately and then just talk about it and say, think about how attached you were to how embarrassed you were for me. And I'm not embarrassed.
Right.
Because I've chosen something else. And that's part of what boldness is realizing nothing bad ever happens unless you decide to label it that way. Not socially. You can be clumsy and awkward and do any of those things in public, and you don't have to label it as bad, because we're all human beings. The thing that shy people and underconfident people do is they get trapped in this perfectionism thing. Yeah. It's like, I have to be perfect. I have to be seen as perfect. I can't be seen as flawed, which is one, impossible, and two, ridiculous. So we're all flawed human beings bumbling through life, and with a few lucky moments here and there where we actually look cool or show up the way we want to. It's not a big deal if you decide not to label it as something bad. Not label it as something bad.
Awesome. You shared your story about the pivotal moment. I'm sure there were a couple of moments that actually made you decide this lack of boldness was not serving me. And that was what I connected with really in your story. For me, I remember I was around 17 years old and I'd always wanted to be on radio growing up. An opportunity came. I saw this ad for new radio presenters and we're all supposed to go audition for this position. I get there and I see a queue of people, literally thousands of people there, maybe hundreds, but in my mind, it looked like thousands.
It looked like thousands.
Yeah, in my mind. So I join the queue and people start having conversations. Oh, hi, my name is this. And I'm like, my name is this. I was fresh out of high school at the time. But these people that were auditioning were like, they had past careers as actors or they've been on radio before. And I looked at myself and I was like, what am I doing here? Like, I don't think I belong here. And believe you not, I turned back and I left the venue. I never auditioned. And that haunted me. It still haunts me to this day. Just the thought of what could have been if I decided to stay and just get my turn to audition. I was signed up already. I had taken the trip there already, but I turned and I walked away just because I shrinked. So when you were sharing your story about going to China and listening to the blacksmiths, cling their hammer, and you really wanted to have a swing, but you didn't. It was all these voices in your head. I know that's one of that was a pivotal moment to share, but are there any others that made you decide, enough of allowing this part of me to rule over my life?
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly in relationships. There was a woman I was very attracted to, and I had known her as a friend, and I really wanted to advance the relationship, but I didn't want to ruin the friendship, and I didn't want her to say, "What are you talking about? No, I see you as a friend," because that would have been embarrassing or humiliating, and so I never said anything. And years later, she confessed to me. She said, "I was really interested in you in turning it into a relationship, but you never spoke up." And I thought, why did I have to hear that? And I had to hear it because it was like, oh, I missed out because I was afraid to take an emotional risk. And that was really the point where I said, I'm never going to be this guy again. Just like in China, when a fun thing is there, I'm going to not listen to the voice in my head that says, "Oh, you shouldn't do that," or "They won't want you to do that." It's the same thing with your radio show interview. You guaranteed that you weren't going to get that opportunity because you left, because you decided you didn't belong there. Bold people tell themselves they belong everywhere. Wherever they are, that's where they belong. And if you can just infuse that into your behavior and say, wherever you are, I belong here. Because you do. You have every right to be wherever you are as a human being. And so if you can harness that insight and that energy, you will act. Then you just have to say, I have to stay in line till I'm at the front of the line, and then I'm going to do the interview. You basically have committed to the path, and you just have to stay on it. Right. So it's such a powerful thing to realize that you're the one stopping you. And this is what people do. Most people do all the time. We are the ones stopping ourselves. Bold people never stop themselves. They don't let a lot of other people stop them either, because they realize most of the time people won't say anything or stop them, and they'll get to do what they want to do, what they want to try. And they're not worried about people going, "Oh, well, what are they doing? What are all these people going to think?" They don't say, "What are all these people going to think?" They don't care. They care about the people that matter to them. Their opinion matters to them. People that their family, their coach, their business partners, their close friends. Right. The rest of the people, their opinion doesn't matter. Right. And there's a great expression: other people's opinion of me is none of my business. Yes. You know why? Because it's wrong most of the time, and you have no control over it because they're judging you by your hair or your clothing or your eyebrows or any number of things that we all do it, and we're all wrong all the time about everybody. We love to create entire persons out of like a tiny shred of information. But if you just stop and reflect how wrong we are most of the time, just say, yeah, and people are the same way about me. Why would I worry about that? Why would I care at all? Let them laugh at me. Let them think weird or goofy or silly or a show off or whatever. I'm going to chase my dreams. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to live a full life, and I'm not going to have regrets.
Right. Fantastic. And you're so right, because when I think back to that day when I decided to walk away, in my mind, I was like, oh, they probably know I've never done this before. They probably know I'm an imposter. They probably know this. And nobody knew anything about me. So it's just the voices in our head that try to tell us otherwise, right? And you put it brilliantly when I was listening to one of the conversations you were having. And you said it had something to do with our primal history as human beings. Do you want to just talk more about that for a little bit?
Yes. I mean, it is very deep in our DNA to fit in. This is a very, very strong urge as a human being. And it comes out very much in high school, of course. We feel it the most, but we feel it the rest of our lives. And it's because 100,000 years ago, if you didn't fit into the tribe, if you somehow were ostracized from the tribe, you died. Something was going to eat you, or you were going to starve to death, or somebody from some other tribe is going to kill you.
Right.
And so it was really important to fit into a tribe, vital in that literal sense of your life depended on it.
Right.
And so a lot of our lizard brain runs a lot of our life still. And so it is causing this same reaction. Oh, I don't want to stand out. And of course, we've got parents who give us this message. Don't draw attention to yourself. Don't talk to strangers. Don't be a show off. Speak when you're spoken to. All of this messaging that comes at you is like, I need to fit in. And you don't. Bold people don't worry about fitting in. They worry about living a full life. They worry about chasing their dreams.
Right.
We're letting other people literally censor our lives by what we imagine their opinions are. And by what I call in my book, I call it Dr. No, the voice in your head that can come up with all the bad scenarios. This could happen. All these terrible things could happen. But we're really good at coming up with those things and really bad at calculating the odds of them actually happening.
Absolutely.
And so we limit ourselves by not trying, therefore guaranteeing that we will not reach that thing. And it's, it goes back to that radio show again. You may not have been chosen, but you would have felt just fine about doing the audition, and them not accepting you because you said, like, there's 300 or 400 people here. Of course I didn't get it, but I tried. I stayed in line until I did it. And it feels completely differently. It doesn't feel like a failure anymore. It's like, yeah, I took a big chance and I lost. That's what happens when there's with risk. There's always a percentage of chance that's not going to happen, usually pretty high.
Yeah.
Bold people go, yeah, I know this. Odds are it's not going to happen, but I'm going to try. Yeah. The only way you guarantee you won't win is if you don't play at all.
Right. Okay, family, let's face it. We've all felt pain. We've suffered the losses. You know what it's like to want something so bad, but not see a path to its accomplishment. The question, however, is, do you know how to pick yourself up and move on despite what has happened? This is what I share with you inside of my new book, Good Medicine for the Crushed Spirit, a practical guide to helping you find purpose when adversity strikes. Inside this book, you will find personal stories, relatable biblical tales, and anecdotes that prove you are never alone in your despair. I will inspire you to turn pain, discomfort, disappointment, or setbacks into something positive that works for you. So if you're ready to change your life in meaningful and purposeful ways, get your copy of this book today and let the transformation begin. And you did say something fantastic that stuck with me ever since. You said most bold people will take a chance and do try because they are not attached to the outcome, you say. A lot of people who don't take the chance are attached, because if I go back to the story I shared earlier, I think I was so fixated on the fact that on the end result, which would be getting the role, as opposed to just enjoying the process.
Yeah, one of the great things that you can do just in social life, but in everything, is you're going to put yourself out there and you're not going to worry about the outcome. A great example is just meeting somebody that you think might be interesting to date. And what we do is we project this whole fantasy about this person being Miss Right or Mr. Right. And we build up this anxiety about, what if they don't find me interesting? What if they don't like me? What if they must have a mate already? They're not interested in talking to regular people like me. I am not worthy to speak to them. And so we don't. And it's all stuff that we're telling ourselves versus a bold person says, yeah, she probably does have a boyfriend. She probably has 3 boyfriends. She probably thinks I'm too short. She probably doesn't like guys with beards. But I'm going to go up and say hi anyway, right? Because the worst that could happen is she could say, I got a boyfriend. And He's not concerned about the outcome. All he's concerned about is that he made the effort. He acted. He didn't let the world decide his outcome for him. He said, I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to step up and see what happens. And what happens when you do this, and this is how we get good at everything, is by a series of attempts where we're awkward, we're clumsy, we're not good at it. You have to embrace not being good at stuff and abandon that whole perfectionism thing so you can get good at it. We expect to be flawless in social situations, as if we could pick up a violin because we wanted to play violin and start playing it, and it would sound good. It's really nutty that we are like that. But we think socially, we should be able to interact with people. Yeah. Well, how about working at it? How about getting better at it? And learn to make eye contact, learn to shake hands, learn to ask questions that show that you're actually interested in the person. All of these things are learned behavior. So learn them.
Right. And in your book, Superbold, you outlined, because a lot of people just say, and especially for me when I was growing up and struggling with becoming bold myself, people would just say, just do it. It's not a big deal. You can just be bold, And I found that really frustrating because no matter how hard I tried, I didn't seem to get it right. And that delayed me so much from things that I really wanted to do, but could not get started on doing. And in your book, I love it because you outline 5 steps, the pride method, you call it, on how people can become super bold. Do you want to please share that? What are the steps to becoming super bold?
Yeah. So the pride is an acronym. The pride method is 5 steps: preparation, relaxing, insight, dosage, and everyday action. And so I'll explain each one of them.
Yeah.
The first thing you want to do, let's say you want to meet somebody, you see them across the room, you're going to prepare what you're going to say. Let's say you come up with a compliment. She has really interesting shoes on. Now, I've never met a woman who wasn't fairly proud of her nice shoes if she had spent some money on them. So those shoes look great on you. So you've prepared what you're going to say. And so the beauty of preparation, and a lot of people don't realize this, they say, that they're not going to be interested in hearing that. Well, maybe not. Why are you deciding what's going to be interesting? Why does it have to be so brilliant, so clever? That we put this burden on ourselves that we have to be interesting and clever and appealing all in the first sentence, which all you really have to do is be nice. It's kind of overwhelming to be those other things when you first meet somebody. So you're preparing something simple, but the beauty of preparation, it is the foundation for spontaneous action. So you could, in the moment, you could walk up and just suddenly notice that she has really unusual earrings. And now you're just going to switch and say, where did you get those earrings? Those are remarkable. They're so unique, but you had what you were going to say. Now, that's only step 1. The step 2 is relaxing. Because people say, why don't you just do it? Because I'm nervous, right? I'm anxious. I don't feel comfortable doing it. You have to learn to physically relax yourself. And it's not as hard as people think it is, but nobody teaches you how to do it. The first step is to adjust your physiology, is to find out where you're tensing up and just shake it off. Just let it go. Say, why are my arms folded like this? Why are my shoulders up around my neck? Whatever. And just loosen up, shake it off. The other thing you can do is just breathe. Take 3 deep breaths. I do this before I go on stage. If I've got a huge audience, I'm really energized, but I want to stabilize myself a little bit. I'll take 3 deep breaths and I'll start to relax myself. And when you relax, when you take control of yourself and start to relax, you become more relaxed because you say, wow, I'm in control of my state. Just like being nervous, when somebody says, what are you so nervous for? Now you're twice as nervous because it shows. It's like, oh my gosh, you can tell I'm nervous. That's even worse.
Yeah.
So relaxing starts the process, starts dialing down this feeling so that you are in control. And therefore, your memory's working better. Your energy is high. Your tongue is working. All of this stuff is happening because you're in a relaxed state.
Right.
And this takes practice, but the more you do it, the better you'll be. Now, every step of the Pride method kind of works interlocking. Preparation also relaxes you. The next thing is insight. The I in Pride is insight, which is two things. One of the things I already talked about is that nothing bad happens unless you decide to label it that way. And the other big insight is people aren't thinking about you anywhere near as much as you think that they're thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves. They may think about you for a second, and they could have any kind of judgment, random, unfounded, unsubstantiated in any way. It doesn't matter. You need to know that they're going to go back to thinking about themselves. I mean, you and I probably both have stuff that we did 20 years ago that we're still kind of a little bit embarrassed about. Yeah. And we're the only one who still remembers. But we're dragging it around like Jacob Marley and Christmas Carol. Bold people don't let themselves do that. But you just need to have the insight that nothing bad's going to happen, and people's judgments are none of my business, and they're going to go back to thinking about themselves. So I don't want to miss this opportunity. Then the next step, the really important step of the Pride method, is D, which is dosage. Controlling the intensity of the experience. Don't overwhelm yourself so that you retreat back into your shell. Don't say, oh, I want to meet new people. You don't go to a party with 300 people where you don't know anybody. You go to a coffee shop and you start talking to the person in line in front of you. And you're not concerned about the outcome. You're just there to have a conversation, maybe just to say something, maybe just to compliment them. Maybe just to ask them a question. And you're not looking for a deeper result other than a brief human connection. Maybe just making a person feel better about themselves by something that you said.
Right.
And when you control the dosage, now what you're doing is gradually expanding your comfort zone gradually. And this is all based on improv comedy, how that's taught. It's taught from a nonverbal level, gradually up and up and up until you can walk on stage with 3 people on stage with you, take a suggestion from the audience and create a scene out of nothing. But you don't start that way. You don't walk on stage and say, let me see what I can do. You're not going to do it because you didn't build yourself up.
Yeah.
And then the final step of the Pride method is everyday action.
Yep.
Doing something every day towards what you're trying to achieve tells your brain, this is who you are. This is what I do now. I behave boldly. I am going to make a bold action every day, sometimes 3 or 4 or 5.
Right.
And your brain says, okay, I guess this is who we are. And when you do it every day, this is how habits are formed. It takes, between 30 and 75 days to form a habit, depending on what it is. But it's because what it does is it creates a new neural pathway where it's very difficult. It's a struggle at the beginning. Of course, it's going to be a struggle. Your brain doesn't know how to do it.
Right.
We didn't know how to tie our shoes or brush our teeth. We had to learn how to do it. So but eventually we don't even have to think about how to brush our teeth. We're thinking about something else while we do it because there's a neural pathway operating it. So when you create this wonderful feedback loop of acting with boldness and people are responding to it in a positive way, your brain goes, oh, okay, this is who we're becoming. And I like how this feels. And the shy and underconfident neural pathways will atrophy.
Right.
Your default reaction, your default mode of activity will become to just step up. Oh yeah, I feel uncomfortable. That's a good sign. It must mean something I really want to do. I'm going to try it. Yeah. Instead of going, oh, I'm uncomfortable, I better not try it. I better run into the other room. So it's these 5 steps that you do with the exercises that I have in the book. And I have 5 levels of exercises for people to do that take them from just smiling at people to being able to stand in front of a coffee shop with headphones on, singing and dancing like a lunatic. But you don't start at level 5 right away. But eventually you get to level 5 and you say, what do I care that everybody thinks I'm crazy? I'm not actually crazy just because they think so. I'm doing an exercise. I don't care about what the outcome is or what anybody thinks. And when you do that, now when it matters, when it's really important, you got the boldness muscle to step up and do something that's important. Meet somebody, ask for a raise, start that business, do a eulogy for somebody that was important to you, get in front of your team at work and present your new idea with confidence, relaxed, energized, clear, communicating because you're prepared and you know how to relax and you know that you can do it and you've prepared yourself. You've increased the dosage of these experiences. And you've been doing it every day so that when it matters, you just roll right in and you give them the full Victoria.
Yeah. Fantastic. I love it. For the first time, I actually see the steps to becoming bold. I eventually had to become bold because I wanted to build a business. I wanted to do a lot of things with my life. But this is actual steps that work. Really, when you look at it, or even though I had them maybe mismatched, but the way you kind of put them in sequence makes a whole lot of sense because I teach sales and marketing online. And this is something that a lot of my clients struggle with. Oh, how do I get on social media? Oh, my friends and family will have this to say about me. I don't want to come live. Or I don't want to do this. They have all these ideas of what people will think without them actually knowing the how. And this is so great. I will be recommending your book to them. That just gives them that sequential steps to becoming bold and living the life that they truly want to live. So I love it so much. If people want to learn more, I definitely want to learn more. Where can they find you?
So my website is fredjoyal.com, Joyal. And of course, you can buy the books. They're in digital form on Kindle and Audible. It's me reading the book. And it's a hardcover, but you probably don't want to ship a hardcover to New Zealand. But if you read it in digital form, which you're most likely to do, did they say down under for New Zealand or is it just Australia?
We are down under.
You are down under as well. If you're down under, you can go to my website and you can download a PDF of the exercises. So you have a physical version of them, which is what you're going to want because you're going to want to be doing the exercises. It's not just about reading the book. The first part is really changing how you think and understand how to become bolder and a bunch of other good communication and social skills. But then you're going to want to be doing exercises on a daily basis and feeling that growth, feeling your comfort zone expanding, feeling your boldness muscle getting stronger. And you can watch, I got a couple of videos on my website of me doing boldness lectures, so you can absorb it that way as well. But you still got to do stuff. You still got to commit to being bold every day, doing some bold thing every day. And it could be just go out and smile at 5 people. And again, you're not worried about the outcome. In fact, you're in the book, you're aiming for the person who doesn't smile back.
Right.
So that you practice not taking it on. You say, oh, it's probably a bad day for them, or they got bad teeth, or whatever the heck it is. You decide to not make it about you. That they didn't smile at me. I must be funny looking. I'm too aggressive with my friendliness. I need to stop. I need to crawl back into my shell. No, you're doing it to realize most people are just going to smile at you. And another really important insight is everybody doesn't have to love you. And that's kind of impossible to achieve. If you have 5 or 10 people that really love you in your life, and then you can have impact on several hundred more, let's say, that's plenty out of the 7 billion people on the planet. That's a great, satisfying life.
Wow. I think that's one of the problems people face, just that need to be liked. And when they try it once and don't get the instant likeness that they thought they would get, it kind of pulls them back into their shell a little bit. So I love that. I love that. Just having realistic expectations about being liked.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I really enjoyed this conversation, Jeff. Fred, my apologies. I said Jeff. Fred. I don't know why. Just your last name just keeps coming in my brain.
It's blending. It's blurring together. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Fred. I really enjoyed this conversation so much. Great insight on becoming super bold. And I do hope you find this exhilarating for you listening. If you've been struggling with becoming bold, being shy, and you've been held back, like I was held back that day when I walked out of a potential audition, you'll find this very, very insightful. So just head on over to Amazon. You find Fred's book on there. And if you feel like you need to contact him, to work with him, invite him over for a keynote or anything like that, you will find the details on how to do that on his website, fredjoyal.com. Thank you so much, Fred. I really enjoyed this conversation. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Victoria. It was a pure pleasure. I look forward to seeing you down under someday.
Lovely. Thank you. This episode is sponsored by our very own Mogul Mindset Training. Are you ready to embrace new experiences, see opportunities where you thought there was none, and totally surprise yourself? Because you can by unleashing the power of your mind. Mogul Mindset System is a 5-step system that helps you retrain your mind to work with you and not against you, so you can awaken your inner giant, 10x your impact, your income, and become truly unstoppable. The truth is, you, my friend, have a superpower, your creative genius, and I'm here to make that power multiply manyfold so you can get past fear, self-doubt, and finally start working and thriving in your life and business. Ready to unleash your superpowers? I thought you would. Head over to mogul.icandemy.org. That's mogul.icandemy.org to learn more. So there you have it. Thank you so much for listening. And for more content like this, follow us on our social media handles. On Facebook, it's at Icandemy, the Facebook page. On Instagram, it's at Icandemy. Or come say hello over on my personal page. On Instagram, it's at Omoshola Speaks. On Facebook, it's Victoria Wolabi. Feel free to reach out, introduce yourself, say hello. I love meeting you. And if you have any stories that you feel will inspire another woman to action, I want to hear from you. I really do. I love hearing from you. Send me an email to hello@icandemy.org. So it's hello@icandemy.org.